Hey, Maggie.
Hey.
I'm getting a little feedback. I'm going to turn this down. All right, are you getting any feedback from me?
No, I'm not.
All right, great.
And if anyone has questions, I'm going to type in the chat box where you can ask a question, and we'll go over everything at the end if anyone has anything.
All right, you just tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Oh, are we live?
Yes.
Oh, this is super easy. We're super organized, as everybody can tell. I've got a few things that I want to go over, and I appreciate you joining us today. I went to the licensing board meeting Monday, and so we had some things that I wanted to cover. But before I do that, I want to go over some things that Dr. Vale had told me back in late June, and then she went over again with at the Tennessee Pest Control meeting that I was in attendance at last week. There have been 2 cases of Formosan termites found in Tennessee, one in Shelby County in the Bartlett area, and then one at the other state of Tennessee in Roane County. So that is definitely going to change how we are going to probably be doing business and what we're going to be dealing with in the future. Both of those were not discovered in packing material or in mulch material that was brought in. These were active infestations that were above any water leaks in a home. So I did want to make you aware of that. All Points will have some more information coming on with that, but just make sure that you're aware that they have been found. I also want to address something that I've had a couple of you guys ask me about and that we talked about last time. The 2-week waiting period will be going away for the retesting, now that they've gone to a third-party subcontractor, PSI, to perform our certification testing. We are doing away with the 2-week waiting period, but that is in rule. So it's going to take a change in rule before it can go away. So if you've tried to just retake the test and you're still having to wait 2 weeks, that's why. I spoke with Kathy Booker yesterday, and she does hope to have that in place and out of our way by the end of this year, hopefully. I now want to jump over to the board meeting. I attended the Tennessee Licensing Board meeting in Nashville on Monday. And a few things happened that could have a severe impact on our industry, and it just shows the importance of staying involved and being cohesive as a unit. First of all, I want to discuss something that could have had ramifications that just kind of explain why we have to be vigilant and paying attention and go to all these meetings, even though a lot of times nothing happens, because that's the best meeting, when nothing happens. A few months back, the Tennessee Pest Control and Alpha, we all got together after the Department of Agriculture came to us and asked to remove the in-house portion of our training and take our continuing education training from 30 hours down to 21, still be a 3-year cycle, but do away with the in-house training. After everybody discussed it, we all agreed to live by that new rule that would start after the June 30th, 2020 deadline. And Kathy brought that up in the meeting as old business. And one of the people on the board, his name is Don Holt, very nice guy. He's been on the board for years, as long as I can remember, representing our industry. It's been probably 5-6 years. So first he had ever heard of it. And he voiced displeasure with that. And he started explaining to the board that we really need that in-house, that it's a valuable tool and it really saves his company a lot of money, and it was going to be a problem if we did away with that for the small operator. Now, whether you agree with that or you don't agree with that, it shows you the importance of why we have to attend all these meetings and why we have to constantly have our ears open. Because had we not been there, he would have been able to reverse that, because that licensing board could have just simply gone the other direction, because the other people on that board have nothing to do with our industry. And he's there to represent our industry. I did inform him that both of the associations had discussed it with the TDA and that we were supporting the TDA. And I even asked him if he was a member of either of the organizations, and he just told me, I think I am, I'm not quite sure. And he came up to me after the meeting and he told me, thank you, Scott. I'm going to reach out and I'm going to find out, because I do need to be plugged in and make sure that we know what's going on. But that simple sentence that he was making, not meant to hurt us, would have changed the direction of everybody's vote prior to that. So that's why we go to these meetings. And it's just a really good reason why we're always there. I will tell you this, that I did talk to Kathy. We were the only ones that I know of that sent in writing our feelings. And our feelings were we would support it. The thing that we were concerned with was doing away with all of the in-house points. Because after this June 30th deadline that just passed, just with all points, we had over 150 people take our compliance webinar, or another group of people that used a free service that we offer, which is just an in-house new technician orientation training. And so I got Kathy to see the importance of that one point and the importance of that orientation and training that you can provide your new employees right after they're certified. And that comes into play, especially if you're coming up on the end of the deadline. If you hired anybody in the last 6 months, you needed them out working, especially if it was a clear day with all the rain we've had in Tennessee. So she agreed if we would agree to give us 1 in-house point. So it'd be 20 external and 1 in-house. That allows you to do a new employee training. It's a free training. All Points will supply you with the paperwork. You just fill it out. After you get somebody certified, they automatically have a point, and they learn what you want them to learn. They're going to learn how you want your applications done, your mixing done, and how you want problems handled. So I think that was a really good talk that we had with the department, and I think ultimately it's really going to help the rest of the industry, because now everybody still has 1 in-house point going into the next cycle that we can fall into compliance. With that, I want to jump into what we really called this meeting about. And it was because the commissioner sent his designate there to relay some information. The first thing was he wanted the Category 3, Category 6, and LHA. That's long. LHA is kind of a weed specialty, like a Roundup type license. Category 6 is weed and right away, and Category 3 is lawn and turf. They want those tests, certification tests, switched over and converted to Spanish. And All Points has asked for that before, because we've had a lot of members that have asked, can we get that in Spanish? And I was told no by the department, because all the labels were not in Spanish. So the Department of Agriculture relayed that same information to him, and Dr. Karen Vail, the chairman of the board, also reiterated that fact. And his opinion was, we don't have a right to tell people they can't work in this state. Texas and Arizona, they're doing it. Other states are doing it. There's no reason we can't do it. Now, if you were a part of our group me chat, where I live text from the meeting, I want to be very clear, because I reached out to Kathy for clarification on this. In that group text, I said he just mandated that it would be done in 90 days, which I thought was crazy. I talked to Kathy, and I was incorrect. So let me make sure you understand that. I was wrong. His 90-day compliance was a question for their new software provider. Once this went through, how long would it take for the state to get it done? Because he thought it should be done in 90 days after that. So I want to make sure everybody's aware of that. But even after Dr. Vail and Kathy Booker told him, that the labels aren't in Spanish, he still insisted that this would go through and that they were really going to push, especially because all the other states had it. And whether you agree with that or not is really not the issue here. The issue here is that he came in with an idea, with an agenda, and even after the state and Dr. Vail told him why they couldn't do it. If you went to the registrants, you got the vendors to make everything in Spanish, they'd be happy to get it done. He said he was going to get it done, which brings me to our next point. He also said that the Senate Ag Committee had looked at all the, what they called restrictions to getting into the industry. And he also said that Tennessee has some of the toughest laws or restrictions to get a license here in Tennessee. And the Senate Ag Committee would like to get a recommendation from the licensing board on lowering those restrictions. Now, those restrictions are restrictions in his eyes. In our eyes, they're qualifications. It's also the way the state perceives that. These are qualifications that you must meet to be able to hold a license in our state. Currently, they're 2 years experience, a 4-year degree, or a license in a similar state. After I met with Kathy, after we had that meeting, I met with our lobbyist, who also attends the meetings with us, and I met with Kathy. And I asked, you know, what do we need to do as an industry? Do you need us to send letters? Do you need us to email you, get on the phone? What do we need to do? And she told me that right now, she doesn't need to do anything. She agreed with us that we have a certain level of confidence that customers put in us, and we go into living areas of commercial and residential properties and often make chemical applications. So those qualifications, not restrictions, need to stay in place, and she feels she has what it takes. I don't believe, and I was talking to our lobbyist, this wasn't aimed as a direct attack at our industry. Maggie, can you pull up the Senate Ag Committee members and share that with us?
Yeah.
The way this works is there's a software program, and the Senate, the House, Republican, Democrat, they all use it, and they can just type stuff in, and then it will show you different things that where they could go in and possibly remove what they call restrictions or qualifications, and just places that this software program thinks that maybe a bill could be put in place. These are all the members of the Senate Ag Committee. We have a lot of friends on there. I see Mike Bell, Janice Bowling. These are people that we've talked to in the past that have been very pro-business and good pest control friends. But it is a long list, as you can see. So what we'll do in the next session is that we will be proactive and ready to go see the people that are on this government Senate Ag Committee. Mag, will you flip over to government ops as well? If it was to go through the Senate Ag Committee, if they did look at our qualifications or our restrictions and decide to lower them, it would go through them through a vote, and then it would go to the government op. Government op, this is very important because these are the people that would make a decision. We're on the Senate side, correct, Maggie?
This is government op. Oh,
okay.
The Senate members.
Yeah, this is the Senate members. So Carrie Roberts, a very good friend of the industry. Janice Bowling, a very good friend of the industry. Scroll on down there, Meg. I think, is Paul Rose also? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So these are all people, and I've dealt with Mike Bell. He's great. So I feel confident that we could argue our point, but we don't want to have to get to that situation. When the next session starts, we will go visit with these people. We'll let them know that, hey, we did get their recommendation at the licensing board. We know the Department of Ag rejected that, and we'll just follow up. We'll let them know exactly what we do. This is why we are a group. It is to catch problems like this and head them off very quickly before they ever become an issue. If you're not familiar with your senator or your House of Representative member, if you need any direction, please let us know. We will identify them. By the time we get to the next session, we'll absolutely reach out to you. If your person is Kerry Roberts or your senator is Sarah Kyle, we'll reach out to you because we want you to either go with us or at least make a phone call. And it would help tremendously if you would support financially, or call them and see if you could put a sign in your yard. If you're supporting your House member or your representative with a vote, then call them and let them know that. Let them know now, because when we go to these people, when we do have a problem, relationships make such a big difference. We do not want to see our qualifications lowered to get into our industry. We worked really hard to get where we are. I explained to the commissioners designate that you can't just look at one side of it and say you have too many restrictions without looking at the other side to see how the lower end of the scale, how the industry is perceived, and what are their infractions, are there any other problems. It's just, you have to have everyone look at apples to apples. We're going to stay vigilant. We are going to be looking to try to pick up some more members in key areas, because I think it's so important that we stay together and stay active. If we see something that needs to be out there, we're going to send it to you through the GroupMe app right away. If you're not using that GroupMe app, reach out to Maggie, reach out to me. You can respond to our email or just call us and we'll get you on it. It makes it so much better when someone like Don Holt, who means no harm, brings up a point and I'm able to go, hey, it's not just me. I'm talking to people right now. I can tell you that there's people in Nashville that disagree with that. I'd tell you people in Knoxville right now are disagreeing with you live at this table. It gives us a much louder voice and allows us to move as a group much quicker and much more efficiently. I think that's all I've got. I know if you've got questions, I'm happy to answer them. Maggie, do we have any questions?
Well, Andy said he thinks that we showed the entire list of Senate, but not the Ag Committee.
Oh, okay. Well, we will. I don't know that I can pull that up right now because I don't want to get, but I will get it and we will submit it to everybody if they want it. We will have it set up for the next session. We will contact you. Like I say, if you're not familiar with who is in your region and you don't know how to find it or you want help, let us know. We would love to point them out. If you're going to send them $100, let us know, because we will make sure that when we walk in there, they know we're not only speaking for the industry, but also some of the people that live in their district. And that goes a long way, having a really good relationship. Got anything else, Mago?
Nope.
Awesome. Guys, I appreciate you jumping back on. I thought this was real important because until yesterday, when I heard from Kathy, I wasn't even sure what we needed to do in order to respond to that recommendation from the commissioner's designate. But seeing the way he just said we're going to make this happen with the category 3 and 6, it really is a good reason to reiterate that we've got to stay active. I appreciate you jumping on this today. I'm going to let you go. This will be emailed to you, so if you need to look back at it, and if you ever can't make one of them, it will be emailed to you automatically just because we sent it to you. Guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you being a part of Alpha.
Bye.